Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your tactical breakdown of Manchester United's loss and reaction to Manchester United's loss to Aston Villa today. And I think the first thing I want to say really is that, I've just watched Brentford play against Liverpool and give them a really good game, basically because they're organised, everyone knows their job and they've got tactics. And I'm not going to be a snob. I think most people, in fact Ricky just messaged me saying the same thing. Ivan Toney's the only player I really know from Brentford. Now, I heard this earlier on and I'm going to use it as an analogy as well. If I give Gordon Ramsay all the ingredients to make the best ever beef Wellington you've ever tasted, I know he's going to do it because he's a specialist in the culinary area. If I give those same ingredients to my best mate John to cook it, who can't boil an egg, he's going to make a shit turd. And basically, at the moment, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got a very, very big question mark over his head. And a justifiable one as well. Because he has been given the best ingredients. And at the moment, he is cooking up an absolute shit show. And he's got to look at that. I know he said after the game that you don't like losing in that. But the most interesting thing for me today is that after that loss for Manchester United, and we'll talk about where things went wrong, but everything went wrong, and we'll talk about the tactics as well. But ultimately, in relation to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I've seen so many people today, looking on social media, there's certain accounts I know are Ole out, there's certain accounts who I know are very loyal to Ole, and journalists as well, and most of them are coming out and saying, it's 3 years, it's not progress anymore, it's not a rebuild anymore, you've got to deliver now, and that result today, alright, we're still only one off the top of the league, I accept that, but I don't think people are looking at that now and going, we're only 1 point off the top of the league. I think most Manchester United fans are sat there tonight going, is this guy good enough to be our manager? Not hopefully, not he is, not Ollie's at the wheel. Is he good enough to be our manager? And right now, there are big question marks over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's head because he just does not come across as convincing. He comes across as chaotic. And I'll talk about that in a moment as to why he's chaotic. But it is chaotic. There's no defined way of playing. It's confused. And you watch teams like Brentford and Villa and Brighton. They don't have the players we've got, but they've definitely got better coaches because everybody knows the system. And you can beat any team in a football match if you have got a system and players who are playing to that system. We're an embarrassment at the moment, not just because we lost to that. I'm embarrassed. I'm seeing Villa fans outside Old Trafford doing the sue and all that lot. And I'm embarrassed because you know what? They've got every right to rip the piss out of us because we have got an embarrassment of riches and an embarrassing side. And I know Bruno said we're going to bounce back, and I love Bruno, but I'll tell you what, as I said before, we've bounced back more times than a ping pong ball on a marble floor. It's ridiculous. I'm bored of it. I don't want to hear we'll bounce back. I don't want to say we're going to go again. I'm fed up of it, and I think that big questions need to be asked. And if I was a senior player at that football club, I would be asking serious questions because it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Thoughts on Ollie saying he thought we played well, says S. Ahmed. Well, I saw a clip, just before we go into the depth of the actual tactical breakdown, I saw a clip from something somebody sent me today. Was it Matt Asks or something like that? Anyway, basically what they've said is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked a direct question about his style of play. Now, I've seen many managers, like when they get the little wooden board out with all the things and they move them around. I've seen loads of managers from Eddie Howe to Graham Potter talk about their tactical setups. I've never seen Solskjaer speak anywhere near convincingly that he knows what he's on about in relation to depth of tactics. And what he was asked about is what's the Ole style of play. And basically, and I don't know how long old it is. It might be a year old. It might be 2 months old. It might be last week. I don't know. But basically what he said is, if you think about the time at Manchester United, most of the goals we've scored, even back in Ronaldo and Rooney days, are about individual moments and fast counter-attacking play. And I was like, shit the bed. Shit the bed. I mean, because this is exactly what he's doing. Fast counter-attacking play when he can and individual moments. And I'm like, that's not coaching, Ollie. That's not coaching. No wonder we look so confused and chaotic. The one thing I would say about the game today is that it was really, really, really out of tune. There was no rhythm. There was no system. The players just looked confused. And if we look at this here, this is basically what happened when Villa got the ball today. The defensive line did drop that deep. You know, McTominay and Fred were here. And again, this thing that I get fed up of talking about it. I mean, realistically, if it's Rashford, he's over there. And you've got this big hole again between the midfield and the attack. But Pogba was tucking in more. I would agree with that. But it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're playing against Villa at home and you're dropping that deep when Villa have got the ball in these areas. Like, the ball's here. I'm leaving the ball here. There's no Villa players. So the ball's here with Villa. And this is what we're doing as a shape. We're dropping too deep. We're at home. What we should be doing is this. You know, this is what we should be doing. Everybody should be like 20 metres further up the pitch. Because what are Villa going to do? Oh, Ings and Watkins, he's going to knock a long ball. Well, David De Gea is more than capable of being on the edge of his box like Alisson is. The defensive line is a bloody shambles. And don't think that's my defensive line. United's defensive line was like this. For most of the game, it was like this. Every time Villa got the ball, we're deep. And the gap appears here. And then you get the ball, and United have just got no shape. No rhythm, no tempo. Aaron Wan-Bissaka deserves a bit of a shout out first of all. He had the most touches, the most passes. I think he had the most interceptions, the most clearances. But that's a right back. It tells you everything. Luke Shaw went off and we looked a bit lost with Delo. But, you know, we were just going down the flanks all the time. And yet we didn't put crosses into the box. It was weird, just a very weird approach to the game, but ultimately we ended up with this McTominay and Fred back six shit again, where they picked the ball up and they couldn't pass a parcel, let alone play a pass into Bruno quickly. And then, even if Bruno does get the ball quickly, can I just say, this is a really interesting stat as well. Ollie built a winning team, now he needs to build a title winning backroom staff, says Bogdan. On the staff at Manchester United, I tweeted this earlier. I just think everybody's too nice. I think everybody's too nice at the football club. The people I speak to who have worked at that football club, everybody who works in that coaching staff, there is a general consensus that it's mates rates and everybody just gets on really well. And all the players get on really well with the coaches and the coaches get on with each other really well. And everybody in that football club gets on with each other really, really well. Have you ever played at any level of football where everybody just gets on really, really well and all the coaches get on really, really well and nobody ever falls out and you win loads of trophies? No, neither have I. Because it's a competitive bloody sport. I don't care if Pogba and Bruno don't get on. I don't care if Ollie and Carrick don't get on. I don't care if as long as they're actually not getting on for the right reasons. Not because one's got a car or one's been out with each other's wife or anything like that. Nothing like that. I'm talking about the drive to be successful not getting on. Like, that's the not getting on I'm talking about. And I don't think there's any aggression. We don't hear of any training ground spats like we used to at United because there doesn't seem to be anybody driving it forward. We're mates rates FC and it's bloody clear. There's no accountability. Everybody's, okay, everything. If something's successful, you're sharing that success, but now you're sharing in that failure. And it is abject failure from Manchester United at the moment. I'm appalled by the way that we're playing football, and I think I said it this afternoon on the watch along as well. I'm worried as to where this is going to go. You take the Arsene Wenger situation. The last 8 years, he was adored by the fans. All right, it started to divide, but he was adored by the fans. The club loved him, and he always got top four. And I think in relation to Solskjaer, we could fall into that trap where we're never going to not finish in the top four. We've drawn with Southampton and we have lost to Villa and we're still a point off the top. We're still comfortably going to get top four this year, and that's all this club really, really wants. But what I was saying is, when we did get the ball into Bruno, and somebody said, oh, what did you think of Ronaldo today? And I thought, well, in relation to Ronaldo today, I don't think, people will say Ronaldo, look, haters going to hate. Ronaldo, rivals are going to go, Ronaldo was shit, what a waste of money, this, that and the other. Any United fan who's been watching United for the last year knows that one of our biggest problems has always been chance creation. And if you look at it today, we had 4 shots on goal, 4 shots on target to Villa's 3. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but in relation to wider, we had 28 shots today. Now, people would go, 28 shots? Oh, that means we should have won because Aston Villa only had 7 shots, but 3 of their shots were on target. 4 of our 28 were on target. So I don't count those 28 shots because the interesting thing, do you know who had the most shots on goal today? I bet you can guess it. McFred to start again after Ollie said we played well, says S. Ahmed. We didn't play well today. We played absolutely shit. And if Solskjaer thinks that's playing well, then he's just exposing what most United fans are thinking about him now. He doesn't actually know what he's doing. And if he thinks that's a good performance today, then he really probably shouldn't be the manager of Manchester United. And that's the scary thing. If he thinks that's a good performance today, he hasn't got a bloody clue. And I would love him to watch this or watch somebody else talking, because I'm telling you, Ollie, if you think that's a good performance today, might be the right thing to do to just ring up tomorrow and say I'm not the right man for the job. Because I'm telling you now, that was not a good performance today. That was a very equal game. A very equal game. We had a lot more shots than Villa, but they were long shots. They were crap shots. The reality is that we had 4 shots on target. They had 3 shots on target. Very, very equal game. Wow, it's Villa at Manchester United, mate. We shouldn't be having an equal game with Aston Villa at Manchester United. So it wasn't a good competitive game. It was a shit show, and you presided over it. You basically shat it out yourself. It was not good enough. And if you think that's good enough, you've got a big, big problem. But on to Ronaldo. The interesting thing is, people say, oh, Ronaldo was quiet today. Out of all the shots on goal, Mason Greenwood had 8. Paul Pogba had 6. Bruno had 6. And Ronaldo had 4. This tells you the story of what the problem is. Even when we did get the ball into the areas to Bruno or to Pogba or to Greenwood, what were those 3 players doing? They were having a shot. They were doing their own thing. So how the hell is Cristiano Ronaldo meant to have a good game when you've got a back 6 for most of the game because Villa had a lot of the ball, and then you've got Pogba, Bruno and Greenwood who are having more shots on goal than our number 9? And this is something we've spoken about for a long time, and it's a very important point. We do not create enough chances for our number 9. We have spent £74 million on a winger whose SP is creating chances, and he's on the fucking bench. We've got 3 players behind Ronaldo who are all shooting more than he is. How's he going to get service when the 3 attacking players who are meant to provide him with the service aren't providing him with the service? He has 4 shots in the game. Pogba and Bruno have 6 each, and Mason Greenwood has 8. I mean, it's imbalanced. There is no cohesion to that team. There is no pattern. No wonder the players aren't playing well. It doesn't make any bloody sense. Paul Pogba's all over the place. He's not a winger. I don't think he's a winger. I really don't. Greenwood didn't play like a winger today. He played like he was playing for himself, much like Greenwood did the other night. Bruno was getting frustrated, although he could have had a few assists. And Ronaldo, well, he may as well have been sorting out his stocks and shares. He had absolutely nothing to do. And there's just no cohesion in that team. There's no rhythm in that team. And I tell you what's really worrying as well. We're becoming a selfish team. We've got Greenwood today having loads of shots. We had Lingard on Wednesday night having loads of shots. This is a big up yours to the coaching setup that they're allowed to keep doing that. Sir Alex Ferguson, you know and I know, Sir Alex Ferguson, if he'd have had Lingard in his team on Wednesday night, the second shot from distance, Sir Alex would have been on the touchline going, Jesse, pass the fucking ball. And he wouldn't have had another shot again. Did that happen? No. Greenwood, today, I love Mason Greenwood. I think he's a generational talent. I think he's a fantastic player. Some people said he was man of the match today because he's very exciting. But he didn't pass enough today. And did Ollie run down and go, Mason, you're off? Or Mason, pass the fucking ball? No, he didn't. But you know why he didn't? Because he's waiting for that moment. He's waiting for that moment of Greenwood hits a shot and it deflects in the bottom corner. Or it whips it into the top corner. He's waiting for that moment because that's our plan. Our plan under Ollie is very, very easy at the moment. It's a back 6 and it's get the ball to these people up front quick and hope that they produce some moment. It's not. You watch Brentford, you watch Liverpool. It's a team game. They're playing as a team. They're playing patterns. We're not playing as a team. We're just shoehorning Pogba into the wing because we daren't play him in the midfield. Benching a £74 million player. I mean, can I just go back to that as well? How do you bench a £74 million player that's your number 1 priority? Surely when the season ends and you mess up on the Europa League final, who's your number 1 priority, Ollie? Sancho. How much do you want him? I really want him. I'm going to spend 75 million on him. Do you really want him? I really, really want him. I've got him for you. Why the fuck aren't you playing him then? What was that all about? So this is your priority signing from the summer and you don't even want to bloody use him. I don't get it. And I don't think a lot of people get it. And I think a lot of people tonight, like I say, are sat there. Maybe they're not Ollie out. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. I don't really think that's relevant because he's not going anywhere anyway. Get Conte in. He's a very tough and smart guy and a manager who knows how to win titles. I don't want Conte at Manchester United. I'll say it right here, right now. I do not want Conte at Manchester United. I do not think he's the right fit for Manchester United. Tactically, attitude, I don't think he's a good fit for United. I think that's out of the frying pan and into the fire, personally. But hi Mark. Do you think Ollie can survive our tough schedule coming up? Says Leon. I think he'll be here as our manager this time next year. I've said that before. Mark, if we did get a new manager, would you want him to bring in new coaches or keep the same coaches? Kevin B, I'd like Ollie to bring in new coaches. So if Ollie left the club, I definitely want new coaches. I don't want to see our current coaching network anyway. I don't think it's very good. I think the football we're playing is embarrassing for the players that we have. I'm embarrassed by how crap we are at football. I'm embarrassed that we're playing Scott McTominay and Fred in the midfield, and we're benching Matic and Fred and Donny and putting Pogba on the wing. We can construct. It's going back to what I said at the start. The ingredients are there to make a very, very good football team, and we're not reading the instructions. We're creating a mess. And Ollie says after the game that the offside, it was offside, their goal, because somebody was in the line of sight of David De Gea. I don't think it's offside. I don't think it's offside because I don't think David De Gea can save it. Basically, House or whatever his name is, he's moved from near the penalty spot. He sprinted to the front post and he's flicked it into the top corner, more or less. And David De Gea's stood in the middle of his goal. If we've got a man on the post, and I don't know why we don't have a man on the post, because I've seen a couple of goals like this in the Premier League, then that doesn't happen. But I can't see how that's offside. And then he says that Villa players were sort of putting Bruno off. I thought the penalty from Bruno was amazing, actually. Bruno never takes a penalty like that. He never hits it high, and he just ran up and whacked it. There was no little stutter. It was a weird penalty from Bruno. I don't know what that was all about, but justice was served at the end of the day, and we deserved to lose that game. And as I said before, fine margins. Does anyone want to talk about fine margins? No one wants to talk about fine margins. I mean, the thing is, it's almost like we're mushrooms. I think Ollie thinks that the United fans are mushrooms. We live in the dark, and we've not seen anything else, and we have. I've seen us beat. Did we beat Villa 1-0 at Old Trafford? We definitely beat Wolves at Old Trafford very late on at Christmas. And I think we beat Villa and they had a good chance against us as well. Fulham, we won and they had a chance at the end. I think we did beat Villa, and Eric Bailly did a really good block right at the end as well. We won a lot of games last year where we could have drawn. And the reality is, what's happened this season is we're not getting the same look again. And that's what Ollie's talking about again. Oh, it could have been offside. Oh, Bruno's penalty was put off. I mean, at the end of the day, as I said, 75,000 fans at Old Trafford. Ronaldo, Pogba, Bruno, Varane, all these world-class players we've got. And we're having to talk about a potential offside. We should be winning 3 or 4-0. And you're always going to lose a game of football, but if you lose a game of football when you've hit the post 5 times and it's just one of those days, fair enough. But I remember us drawing games with Zlatan up front under Mourinho. I think it was Bournemouth at Old Trafford, and we had chance after chance after chance and we drew it, and everyone was pissed off and everything like that. But I was thinking, we had loads of chances, we just didn't score. But today, you can't argue with that result. It's a flip of a coin result, like I said earlier. And to come out with excuses totally and utterly buries the whole point that we didn't play like a team that deserved to win that game today. And as I say, I'm tired of watching teams that don't have the quality of player that we have, but they come and play better football, better organised. They move the ball in triangles. They're energetic. They know what they're doing. We've got better players than them, and there's no shape. And it really is this simple tonight. And I think everybody knows this. And what I really do respect is that I haven't really seen anybody ranting and raving about the loss. What I've seen is frustration, tiredness, and basically a demand for answers, because we've seen this for too long. This is just not good enough, and it's not acceptable that we have the players we basically, if I'm absolutely blunt, it feels like Manchester United is being managed by the YTS boy or girl. This is a youth training scheme that used to happen in the UK, whereby if you wanted to be an accountant, they had this scheme where you could go and be under the youth training system. You could basically go and train up to be an accountant or a bricklayer or whatever. It was called the YTS scheme, the youth training scheme, I think it was. It might still exist. And it feels to me like that's what's happening at Manchester United. It feels like we've spent all this money, we've got all these players, we've got a fantastic squad, but we're being coached by people learning on the job. And it's getting to that point now where it's becoming very clear. It's not a joke. It's becoming very clear that that's what's happening. We've got a manager and a set of coaches that don't really have any background in football and don't really have any CV in football. And therefore, you don't. And also, they're playing a brand of football that we don't really have any idea what it is. And therefore, you're looking at it and you're going, we are being run and coached by managers who've got big question marks over their head. They've got no pedigree. And it shows. We shouldn't be sat here time after time, week after week, month after month, going, what is the style of play of Manchester United? And being told by people like Ed Woodward and Ollie that it's about the United way, it's about attacking football. Well, we're not playing attacking football. We're not playing the United way because most of us were brought up on the United way and we know what it is. And we can't just be conned off with words anymore. There's big questions to ask of that team and there's big questions to ask of that coach. And I'm sure he'll go on the defensive and that's fine. And I'm sure he'll try and create a siege mentality and that's fine. But if you're a United player and you're sat there tonight thinking, the reality is nobody's actually blaming you. And that's a really weird situation that I thought the players on Wednesday night were to blame. The front four were shocking. But I think today, all right, there was a few not great performances. But for me, today was totally and utterly, any individual bad performance was overshadowed by the fact that the coaching system was chaotic and boring. And that's not good enough. And if I was a player at that football club, I would be thinking that as well. And I would be having those chats, mainly with the coaches and also with my teammates. Because if you tolerate this, then it's going to be top four for the next few years. And Pogba will go, and Bruno will go, and Ronaldo will go, and Varane will go, and Greenwood will go. And, we'll lose all these players that we've got. At the moment, that's all we've got to hang on to. The football's abysmal. But we've got Ronaldo, we've got Bruno. Well, they won't hang around forever. They won't stay forever if we don't start winning games. Mark, in, Ollie out. You have more knowledge and passion than Ollie. He's just a player that got the job. Do your badges, says Easters Football Corner. Yeah, I don't think we're on about that. But I think that Pogba doesn't work on the left wing as well. That's something I'm just going to go through some notes as well. I want to take some of your questions as well. But, De Gea spoke after the game and said that we need to win these type of games. And I think David De Gea today and over the last few weeks has shown the leadership and, he's rejuvenated, David De Gea. I mean, he was having a go at Maguire today for a pass. Now, when I was watching that back, I thought, I don't know whether that pass is a bad pass. But then I watched it and I was like, it is a bad pass from Maguire. He should be knocking it onto David De Gea's left foot, not across the face of the goal at that pace. And David De Gea had a pop at him because it nearly led to a goal. David De Gea had a really good game again today. He's done his job. He's not at fault for the goal. He's had a good game and he's come out afterwards and said, these are the sort of games you want to win. You've got to win. 100% these are the sort of games you've got to win. Ronaldo mentioned it afterwards as well. You've got to win these type of games. And, I think, Ollie comes out after the game and it's like, no one likes to lose, but, we've got a big game on Wednesday. And it's like, where's the accountability? I think it's inexcusable to lose a game like that with the riches he's got at his disposal. I'm not joking. There's not many managers in the world that wouldn't look at United and go, "Wow, they've got those sort of players." And as I said on my match reaction, it's disgusting to have a player of Cristiano Ronaldo's quality and not use him today, just to not get him in the game. And also, we need to play a 4-5-1 and play tiki-taka, says Tariq. This really annoying part is seeing the other results. We could have gone clear, but brilliant breakdown, Mark, on to midweek, says Amit. And it might be considered a tad early, but I think it's time to call it, mate. Also, congratulations on being #1 trending for your reaction show, says Ollie Norris. Oh, thank you very much. Didn't know that. The question should have been raised at the first place when we drew against Saints. Ollie didn't learn from winning from fine margins. He's comfortable with loss, but egotistically, it won't change McFred, says Pratic. Look, we'll win games with McTominay and Fred. We will drop more points with McTominay and Fred. They are not good enough. And I will say it for as long as I need to say it. They are not good enough. We are never going to win a league title with those two. I cannot believe the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, Cristiano Ronaldo have not gone to the manager and said, what are you doing with that midfield? Because, you've got Matic and Pogba needs to play in the midfield. 100%. You've got to build a team, the midfield around Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba needs to play as an 8 with the freedom to get forward, but also the responsibility to get back. Therefore, you need a very, very good number 6. And we haven't got one. We haven't got one. And you know why we're conceding a lot of goals? Because our midfield's shit. Like, we're not conceding goals because of Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Rafael Varane or Luke Shaw or Harry Maguire or David De Gea. We're conceding goals because the midfield is getting overrun. And it's very, very clear. You can watch that game back. I think it's on Sky right now. That midfield is getting overrun. Look at the second half. We were overrun time after time after time because that midfield just gets bypassed. It loses the runners. Like McGinn, Harry Maguire could have been sent off. McGinn is running through. He's a midfielder. Why is Harry Maguire having to deal with a midfielder breaking through? Because we're just not picking up the runners. And also, the Cavani substitution. Mark, why do you still back him, please? Love the show, says Najib. I'm not sat here backing him, but I'll talk about that in a minute. It's a good point. But I thought that McTominay came off on the 75th minute for Cavani. It was the 81st minute. 81st minute. That means, quick maths, 36 minutes of the second half passed before Ollie decided to make a change. 36 minutes. I would have made a change at half time. I think Tuchel would have made a change. Pep would have made a change. He waits until there's 9 minutes left to throw Cavani on. When there are, Mason Greenwood shooting from everywhere, he won't put a cross in. Ronaldo's getting no service. Pogba's not really working on the left. McTominay and Fred aren't really working in the midfield. There's probably 5 different subs he could have made. And he waits till 9 minutes to go to bring Cavani on. How's about this? How's about get Matic on for Fred and just try and get hold of the midfield for the last half an hour? Matic can do half an hour. How's about taking McTominay off for Donny and Donny will get on the ball and start probing and things like that? How's about taking Greenwood off for Sancho to see if we can get some crosses in from the right, which we're not doing? You can't make all those subs, but he could have made one of them. And what does he do? He takes McTominay off to get Cavani on to sort of go for 2 up front when we've not created any chances anyway. I mean, apparently Adam was saying that at Old Trafford they were chanting for Cavani to come on, and I get that. It's a match day crowd. They want a goal. They think, let's get Cavani on. But when you're actually analysing a game properly, and we'll go back to here for this, if United are set up like this, right, which we were a lot of the game, probably a little bit more forward than that. We were set up like that a lot when Villa had the ball. So you set up like that, and 9 minutes to go, it's 0-0. What part of you thinks that for that, to do that is going to win you the game? It's just chaotic again. It's absolutely chaotic. And I've got no problem with Edison Cavani, but like I say, for me, he doesn't come on. Pogba can come on, Fred can go there, and you could bring on, you could put Jadon Sancho on here and try and get something in from the width. But no, Ollie goes and does vibes, isn't it? It's like, oh, remember I scored a goal against Bayern Munich in the 99 Champions League final. Let's chuck another striker on. It's like, it's just chaos. And you know what? I said this about West Ham last week, and I got ripped for it. I said, since he brought Sancho and Lingard on for Pogba and Greenwood against West Ham, and it was chaotic. Lingard was everywhere, getting in Bruno's way. It was chaotic, but it led to a goal. You can score a goal from chaotic tactics, but what you're not going to do is win week in, week out with chaotic tactics. And we are playing chaotic tactics. Mark, why do you still back? I've done that one. I need to come back to that one. The current setup is perfect for an interim spell, but in terms of actually winning titles, then no way. Alas, this goes back to the clueless board, says Green Grits. You know what? We can do nothing as football fans. Najib says, why do you back this manager? To be honest with you, Najib, what I do personally, I don't get this. I'm not a voice for the fans. God, I'm not a voice for the fans. We set up the United Stand for people to have a voice and have a chat. I present the show. That's what I do. I am one person and I don't want people to follow what I say. We have a conversation. How I feel and what I do is up to me. Now, you'll get people saying, oh, he won't say Ollie out because he doesn't want to upset people. Well, you've not watched the show for a long time and a lot of you are Ollie out, so surely that would make me more popular. What I decide to do is what I feel true to do myself. What I will sit here tonight and do, and I think even the most adamant Ollie Inner is doing this, because I've had a few chats with them myself tonight. They are sat there going, this is a bad situation. This is a joke. Like, we might be doing this for the next 4 or 5 years with a manager that's not playing good football but can get us top 4 but will never win us a league title. And that's what scares me. I don't think there's any prospect of Solskjaer going anywhere. So shouting Ollie out, well, that's up to you. I'm a realist. I know that's not going to happen. The club is run by poor football people. The players are accountable as well. But the way that United's constructed as an entity, you've got everybody's very happy with the situation. They've just made massive amounts of money off the Ronaldo signing, and they're very excited and happy with the situation. They've got no. It's not even a hint of a thought that Solskjaer might not be the right man. So that prospect of him getting the sack or anything like that's not going to happen. The fans aren't going to make any difference to that. What I would like to see happen is I would like to see either Ollie grow a pair and sort his coaching staff out, because I'm telling you, Ollie, it's crap. You can sit here and say you've got some of the best coaches in the world, which he's said numerous times. He's said numerous times, I'm lucky I've got some of the best coaches in the world. You haven't, Ollie. I'm telling you, you haven't. You need to wake up. You haven't got some of the best coaches in the world, and you know why you haven't? Because we're not playing like we've got that. And that's what the best coaches in the world do. You play good football. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're playing. I don't know what your team selections are all about. I don't know what you're doing, and that's not a good thing for a United fan to have. Everybody watching United this afternoon, everybody watching United tonight, they're sat there going, my God, what is it you are trying to achieve? What football are you trying to achieve? What part of this do you think is good? Because it's crap, mate. It's absolutely crap. It might be acceptable if you're West Ham. It might be acceptable if you're Mulder. It might be acceptable if you're Cardiff. Maybe that's what he thinks is good, because to him, maybe that's what is good, because he's never managed at the top level. But I tell you what, the way we play football under him and the way his coaches coach, that ain't good enough. Nowhere near good enough. So I would like to see Ollie grow a pair and sort his coaching setup out one way or another. I'd like to see him grow a pair there. I really would. I'd like to see some of our players take some accountability as well. Instead of putting tweets out saying let's bounce back, actually go and start kicking some chairs, kicking some boots, stamping your foot a bit. You're a paid professional footballer playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. You don't need to have a smile and get on with everybody. I actually quite liked De Gea and Maguire having a bit of a set to today, because I'm like, well, it shows they care. It's a life lesson. If somebody reprimands you for not doing your job properly, you don't like it, do you? You want to prove them they're wrong. You want to be like, you having a go at my work, are you? Right, I'll prove you. That's what we need. We need some of that, and it's got to come from within, because the fans can only, get disgruntled so much. If the Maguire-Shaw injuries are prolonged, do you think Ollie will go to back five? Says Jay. I hope not. Shaw off, not having more possession, and he sent Cavani on when we had Lingard and Sancho on the bench. We'll forgive the pen, but won't go over this, says Pratiusz. He doesn't deserve to be called Man United manager. He's a disaster, says Oz. Remember what he said about the 6 and the 8 position and midfielders just being midfielders. How basic is his understanding, says Gordon Murray. Ollie is tactically awful, way too stubborn to make changes when necessary, and judging by his press conferences, I feel like he's genuinely deluded, says Raheem. And look at the fixture list, a lot of tough games up until Christmas. Ollie will be gone before Christmas, says Yub. I don't think he will. But what I would say is, and there's some great comments in there, is that whatever Ollie thinks, and I don't know what Ollie thinks of, needs some, says Tevs, and Ollie needs to have balls and change formation. Why do you always play 4-2-3-1? You can change the shape in the middle of a match and it never happens, says It's a Ticker. What I would say, if I could speak to Solskjaer tonight, what I would say to Ollie is this. You can be as stubborn as you like, and I think you've shown that you're stubborn, but I'm telling you now, Ollie, you're in big problems, because journalists, ex-players, fans, they don't think you know what you're doing. And whether you know what you're doing or not, that's public perception, and that's a dangerous thing. They don't. There's a few journalists that I think are quite close to Man United. What Simon Stone tweeted, I'll read that out in a minute. A few ex-players, a lot of fans. That is not a good look for a manager, and he needs to acknowledge it. And I hope he does acknowledge it, because the only way to change it is to actually change that perception. But no word of a lie. Ollie in, Ollie out, Ollie doubt. Are you sat here tonight going, this is the manager that I know plays a good brand of football that, ultimately, hopefully in the future is going to win titles with us? You can say, hopefully he's going to win us titles, but you can't sit there with your hand on your heart and say, we play a good brand of football. I know exactly what Ollie's trying to achieve. I don't think we play a good front brand of football. I've got no idea what Ollie's trying to achieve. And it goes back to what I said at the start when that interview was had with him, and it was like, what's Ollie's style of football? I've seen coaches of the Premier League sit there for 10 minutes, tactics boards, chatting away about, we knew Chelsea were going to try and do this, so we moved players into the left, analyse and break down a game. You've got Ollie saying, a 6 and an 8, you don't need all that, it's just midfielders. Look at all the goals United have scored over the last 30 years. Mostly it's individual brilliance and on the break. It's just... He whether it's fair or not, and I'd like to say it's not fair. I'd like to say there is a lot of depth tactically, but unfortunately, and look, Cardiff fans never do this. I did this a year ago. Never ever go and look at journalist articles or fans' opinions on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because it's scary what they thought of him as a coach. They thought he was Tinkerman, useless a lot of the time. It's not worth doing that. But what I would say about Solskjaer, Scott should be a steward, more involvement, says Roger Benjamin. He's not going to change backroom staff when he doesn't change McFred. He's going to go out on his sword, says David. And Scott, and also, remember when Ollie said if he became the Man United manager, he'd build a team around Pogba, but he's playing him out of position, says Rory Sanders. The big problem that Ollie has at the moment is that fans in general do not, and the media and everybody else do not believe that he is a good coach. And, Solskjaer, for all I care, Solskjaer could go on a press conference and say, I've heard of that Goldbridge on the United stand. He's won nothing. I'm an ex-player. I'm a legend of this football club. He doesn't know what's going on. He just sits there on his chair talking nonsense. And some people would love that. They'd say, Ollie's shown a bit of balls there. He has. But I would sit here and go, mate, that doesn't solve the problem. What's your style of play? Everybody thinks you're a bit of a crap coach, and at the moment that's what they think about you, Ollie, and I think that's very, very sad. And I think stubbornness isn't going to get you out of this. The only way you're going to get out of this is to start winning games visibly. Football is so easy to watch as a football fan. Did you watch Liverpool-Brentford tonight? Some of you will have done. I watched it and I'm like, oh, look at how well he's got them coached. Obviously Klopp, but the Brentford manager, I don't know any of their players. And it's like they've got a system. Brighton win tomorrow. They're top of the league. Like, these managers, I watch the thing I hate is watching United and then you watch another game from the weekend in the Premier League and you go, and that team might lose. They might lose 3-2, but you'll watch both teams and you'll go, I know how they're trying to play and I know how they're trying to play. Like, football it's not rocket science. You can watch a team and go, oh, that's how they play. They're trying to get the ball to that player to put the crosses in the box. Or they want everything to go through that number 10. Or they're trying to move the ball long ball. You can watch a team and you can figure out what they're all about quite quickly. I've been watching Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team for 3 years. I've got no idea what it is he's trying to achieve. I haven't. And I tell you what, Ollie, the general consensus of you at the moment is people think you don't know what you're on about. They don't think you're a good coach, and that's not a very good look, and only he can change that. And it's true though, isn't it? Call me a liar, tell me I'm lying. Does anybody actually sit there and think, you know what, I know exactly what Solskjaer's trying to do, and he is a good coach? Because at the moment, I don't think that people think that. I really don't, and he's got to change that. But look, let me read you what Simon Stone said after the match. Simon Stone is a BBC correspondent, does a lot around Manchester United. Very pro Manchester United, very close to Manchester United, but this is what he said after the game. The bullish noises in pre-season out of the club about progress at Manchester United have made under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer don't hide the fact that this is his third full season and the club must compete for trophies at the least. Still early days, but 5 points dropped out of one competition and a losing start in another is poor considering the opposition. Then, you know what? The journalists are starting to wake up to it. Fans are starting to wake up to it. This is pressure on Solskjaer, and I don't want that pressure to be there, but it is. We've lost 3 of our last 4 games, and our next 3 games are difficult. Villarreal, Everton, Leicester, then I think we've got Atalanta, then I think we've got Liverpool. We've got tough games to come, and he's going to have to play his way out of this. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, do you think Ollie's going to play good football over the next month? Or do you think he's going to play McTominay and Fred with a back 6 and rely on what he tried to do today? And we might, you know what? Whenever he's back, look, on a positive, whenever Solskjaer's back is up against the wall, he produces results. I remember, it wasn't last year, was it? It was the year before. He was in trouble in November, and our next 2 games was Tottenham and Man City, and it was like he'll lose both of them and he'll lose his job, and he won both. Last year when we lost to Istanbul, people were like, the club are talking to Pochettino, he'll be gone, and he went on an amazing run all the way through till January. We'll probably go on a really good run now, but will the football be good? And this is it. Is this enough now? Is it enough that we're going to go and grind out results and go on a run? I don't think it is. And I don't know whether I'm in a minority here, but I actually don't think it is. I don't think going and grinding out results against Everton and Leicester and Liverpool and Villarreal 1-0 is good enough. With the players we've got, we shouldn't be now going siege mentality, back 6, McTominay and Fred, protect the back 4, get the ball into Bruno, try and do a bit of individualism for Ronaldo or someone like that. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think we probably will win quite a few of our next few games, but I don't think we're going to start playing a good brand of football, and I think that's always going to be his problem because, yeah, go and win a few games for the next 2 months, and then we'll go and lose a game like today. I'm so disappointed because I expected the summer with the signings we made to actually be progressive, and I'll say what I said again. Jadon Sancho was the priority signing for Manchester United. He didn't play a minute today. Like, what is the plan? Ollie, what is the plan? How can you buy a winger, your number 1 priority? How can he be at this football club fit, your number 1 priority, and you don't play him for 1 minute when Marcus Rashford's injured and Paul Pogba's playing out of position? What is that about? What your planning is so chaotic. How can people be confident in you when it's chaos? It's bloody chaos. Van der Beek was man of the match on Wednesday, didn't play a game. Matic is our best holding midfielder, didn't play a minute. Sancho's your priority signing, who creates things, we're not creating things, doesn't play a minute. It's a mess. It's a mess, it's chaotic, and I tell you what, it's very hard to be led and follow a leader when they've got no torch and they've got no map. And we're just walking blind at the moment, and I worry. Ollie's protected by his mates in the media. Scholes, Neville spend his time attacking previous managers and now he's silent and trying to make excuses, says Donut. Pop style approach, leak like last year by end of November. Club testing the water and the fans will go the other way this time and Ollie will be gone, says Mark. Mark, what is it? Is that what you want? A manager that just gets the result just to keep his job? I don't want a manager that plays to protect his job. No, I don't, Paolo, but I think that's what's about to happen. I think some people will hope that Ollie will now start playing in a more attacking brand of football and go for it. I mean, there's frustration, there's moaning. Here's a solution. What I want to see is this. I don't want to see this team. What I want to see is get out, bring him in, a proper 6, a proper 8, a proper 10, and I'd go with those 3 up front. You know, that's what I want to... It's the midfield. The midfield is the problem. I want to see that. You've got Jadon Sancho who can create. You've got Bruno who is our number 10. You've got Pogba in the middle. And you've got a proper number 6. That's what I want to see. And if Ollie starts picking that team and he goes with it, and it doesn't work and he loses his job, fine. But I'm telling you now, if he goes with that team, it will start winning games. The problem is, and I can see people saying it already, Matic can't play every week. Well, why the fuck's he here then? Why is Matic here? Why is he at this football club if he can only play 1 game a week? I can't believe that's true. But he does seem to visibly tire after an hour. So why have we got a player here who can only play 1 game a week? Why didn't we get rid of him and buy a player who can play there? Mark, usually when I watch United Standing, you have reviews. Ollie's presser, you say he got this right, said this was good, etc. But recently he's been getting it really wrong and it's worrying, says Amit. We could win 20 games in a row and then the moment we are favourites, then Ollie will bottle it. He's an absolute bottle job, says James. You're right, Mark. Many games have been won by McFred, but the approach to different problems, matches should always be different with different thinking, says Pratic. And he said we'd play different ways with Varane. What's changed except the players, says Gordon Murray. It's a great point, Gordon, because the reality is we're playing exactly the same as we did last season. I heard many of you saying on the watch along, and you're absolutely correct. We're playing the same as we did last season. We're playing with a back 6 when the opposition have got the ball. We're dropping deep. We're moving the ball slowly. We're not creating chances for our number 9, and we're struggling when teams get back into position. And we're still picking McTominay and Fred in the midfield. We are last season FC. But the difference is, last season, we were picking up more wins 1-0. We're not getting the look anymore. We're not. As I said, we would have won this game 1-0 last season. We would have beaten Southampton last season 2-1. We drew with Southampton and we've lost to Villa. You know, because the reality is we did win a lot of games last year in games that I call flip a coin game, where it's very tight and it's about who can win it 1-0. We flipped the coin last year and we got a lot of heads. Now we're getting a few tails. And, you know, this is what happens when you don't take control. And as I said, next time Villa go and play a top 4 team at home, there ain't no way Klopp's going to play a deep line. No way. He's going to press high up the pitch, and we didn't do it. We weren't energetic again. And the sad thing is, Ollie exposes himself. You talk about tactical breakdown. Ollie, you know, great point about the press conference. Ollie exposes himself. You don't need to dig deep to realise how Ollie is struggling, because he has said countless times over the last few weeks and months, it's frustrating how we don't start well. We've got to start well. And he said it before this game, and we didn't start well. And we didn't start the second half well either. So he knows he's failing, and he's publicly telling you he's failing, because he keeps saying we need to start better. It's not acceptable how we start. Didn't start either half well again today. And yet he's obviously telling the players about it. Ollie's protected by his mates. We've done that from Donut. And we should move in for Ten Hag before Barca or Real swoop in. I watched the Ajax game today and he does magic. You know what? Thanks for the super chat there from Sahaj. I have got no energy or time to think about Manchester United's next manager. It makes me feel very sad to think about that. It really does make me feel very sad to think about a new manager at Manchester United. I've got to be honest. I'm not in that mindset at the moment. I don't know what I'm in. I think I'm in a state of confusion. I feel like Bruno or Ronaldo playing in that Man United team. I'm looking around me and I'm going, what the fuck's going on? I think the players are probably as confused as the fans are at the moment. I don't know what's going on at Manchester United. I'm confused. What I do know is if you bring another manager in, it's another 3-year build. And do you want that? You know, the disappointing thing is, it's now. This season's the season to deliver. It's not over yet. You know, we're only a point off the top. Things can change. I genuinely believe he won't do it because he's stubborn. But I genuinely believe if he pulled Pogba into the midfield and played Matic behind him, the team would change overnight. But he won't do it. He won't do it. He's going to stick with players that aren't good enough. And I think it's going to be a very, very frustrating season by the looks of it. Because I think even if we start winning games, we're going to be winning games on individualism. But you know that's clearly his tactic. You know, I think we need to get round to the fact that Ollie's way of playing is counter-attacking, relying on brilliance, and that's what it is. We're not relying on moments. Ten Hag would be a dream. He would play Donny and Matic as Edward Woodward. But one of the things I did want to say in relation to this breakdown show is that you know, a lot of people have a lot of things they want to talk about. Donny, McFred, Ronaldo, Cavani, Sancho, when Rashford comes back. I think for me, the most important thing at the moment is Pogba is a fantastic player. He's probably going to go in the summer, but he's here for the year. You can't just keep putting him on the left wing. You know, it's not working. It works in some games, but he's not a left winger. And it makes us very imbalanced because he can't whip a cross in. He can't beat a man the way a winger can and get to the touchline. He's a midfielder. He can beat a man, but he's more of a midfielder way of doing it. So we've got to get Pogba back inside. I'm hoping that Rashford's going to be back fit, not because I think Marcus Rashford is the saviour of Manchester United. We've got bloody Ronaldo and Bruno. They're better players than Rashford. But Rashford comes in and it means he'll play, which means Pogba can't play on the left, which means he's got to play in the midfield. I think that could be really, really helpful for us. And the word I would say is chaotic. It's very chaotic at Manchester United at the moment. Some of our fans get very excited about the fact that we've got Lingard, we've got Cavani, we've got all these fantastic attacking players. How the hell is he going to fit Cavani in this team? Ronaldo played 90 minutes today. Did he look tired? How is Cavani going to play? How is Lingard going to play? You know, how is Donny going to play? How is Martial going to play? You know, Juan Mata wasn't even on the bench today and Rashford's got to come back. He's got too many players because he didn't clear some out. And I think it's a dangerous situation. I think some players have got to start being vocal about the situation. It's not acceptable. Unless we've got a squad of players that are just mercenaries happy to take the money, I don't think we have. I think we've got people who want to win things. And I think they need to be more vocal because ultimately it's chaos at the moment. Nobody knows the brand of football we're meant to be playing. Nobody really knows what Ollie's trying to achieve in relation to that style of football. He's got too many players, and we're picking up bad results. It's a bit chaotic. Well, it's a lot chaotic at the moment, and he needs to sort it. But the defining line for me would be, and take it or leave it. And Ollie can take it or leave it from you. But I know for a fact, an absolute fact, I'm sat here tonight and I'm thinking, I don't even know if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a good coach. I don't know. I've never heard him really say anything tactically that I've gone, wow, he's an inspiring coach. And I think the media are starting to realise this. I think a lot of fans are starting to get concerned about this. And I just wonder how long it's going to take the players to start getting concerned about this, because our coaching on a training session on a Monday morning might be some of the best coaching we've ever had. Ronaldo might be like, these sessions we're doing, they're better than what we do at Juve. They're better than what we did at Real Madrid. They're better than what we used to do under Sir Alex. I doubt it, but he might think that. But the problem is, it doesn't make them good coaches, because it's anyone can score a worldie in training. Can you do it on the football pitch? These coaches, players might really like him. Might be brilliant coaching on a Carrington, but if you're not delivering on the pitch, you may as well be doing bloody pass the parcel or something like that. You've got to deliver on the pitch on a Saturday afternoon, and we're not. We need to get asked questions about McKenna and Carrick. They're as clueless as Ollie. Wish we'd bring a proper coaching team, says SBD. And I said after the Europa final that Ollie will be exposed this season. Almost people didn't notice this, but the players don't believe in him. Plus, the players will down tools before December, says Emmanuel. I don't think the players will down tool. I think this is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picks people like Fred and McTominay, because they won't down tools. You've probably just answered the McFred dilemma there. He picks McTominay and Fred because they won't down tools. They'll just keep running and running and running, and that's why he picks players like that. Ollie clearly would rather go for a workhorse player than a creative player in his midfield. But there may be trouble ahead. I hope there's not. I hope we can smash Villarreal on Wednesday night and Ronaldo scores a hat-trick. I hope we smash Everton and then we go after the international break and we smash Leicester. I hope we can do all those things, but I'm worried. I don't think we smash many teams. I think we're always a team that gets a goal and tries and keeps a clean sheet. But no, the big thing for me is that I think a lot of people this afternoon have gone, what is this manager doing? What is he trying to do? And the fact that he thinks we played well is quite scary as to what his level as a coach actually is. And I think that's what we're going to find out over the next coming weeks and months. Is he a decent coach, or is he a coach that basically tries and shuts down and hit on the brake? And look, to be in fairness, there are coaches out there that could do a hell of a lot more on the eye in relation to the way we play football, but we've got some of the best players in the league. If you tell him to park the bus and counter-attack, we're probably going to be quite good at that, because we've got some very good players, but we're not easy on the eye. We're not. Would Mourinho be winning with this squad, says Will Scott? I mean, look, what I will say, Will, is that I think at times we've played some of the best football since Sir Alex Ferguson left under Ollie. But I can only count it on one hand. I think we've done it 4 or 5 times. We've played some of the best football we've seen. The vast majority of Solskjaer's career is very, very similar to Mourinho. Mourinho deserved the sack. He lost the players and the style of football was poor. But style of football wise, I don't see a massive difference between Solskjaer's style of football and Mourinho or Van Gaal's. It's not easy on the eye, but what I would say is that I think Mourinho and Van Gaal's style of football were more identifiable. At least you knew what they were doing, whether you liked it or not. I think with Ollie, it's just a bit chaotic. Mark, we say we are so lucky Liverpool drew today and they have City to play on the weekend. Now that Bruno missed penalty feels even worse, is YUFC. And I'm not worried at all tonight. Up front, he has one of the greatest winners in football history. It's not going to take long till words are exchanged, says Nick P. Well, let's hope so. I think that's the takeaway from the breakdown tonight, is that words need to happen, and it can't just be from the fans. We're not running the club. Ollie's running the club. We're not playing for the club. The players are playing for the club. Somebody in that team, or some people hopefully a few, need. I mean, look, the first thing I would do if I was Ronaldo or Bruno or Harry Maguire is I'd be having a word with Ollie and I'd say, look, I love Scott and Fred, but as a two, they're not working. They're not protecting the defence that well, and they're not feeding the attack that well. We need a better midfield too. And, everybody should be saying that. Whether you're Luke Shaw, whether you're you know, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, that team will improve massively when we become a team. We need to become a fully filled donut and not a bagel. There's a massive hole in that team. Has Ollie ever been called a winner? We are seeing it, says Havertz. Anyway, look, I could talk and talk and talk. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We nearly got 2,000 likes on the video. There's some fantastic videos on the channel today. We've got quite a few vlogs outside the ground. I thought Beth's was fantastic in her frustration about McFred. So make sure you check those out on the homepage. And I hope you'll have a good evening. It's going to be an interesting next few days and weeks at Manchester United. The pressure's on, and the pressure's on Ollie. And the sad thing is, Ollie, people don't really think you're a good coach tonight. And it's not just fans, it's media. And that's not a good look for a Manchester United manager. And I don't think you can just go into games now and say, let's grind it out and get a 1-0 win. When people think you're a boring, unimaginative manager, that can stick. And he's got to change that fast, very fast. And I hope he can. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you soon.